Greetings and welcome back to the channel. In this video we're going to talk about a fellow Conrail engineer who was nicknamed the Creeper and how he got that nickname. So back on Conrail I was working the Philadelphia pools, which operated freight trains from the North Jersey Consolidated Terminal to Philadelphia. And then we would take rest in the hotel and then work another train back to New Jersey. One trip, we came out of the hotel in Philadelphia and got our train to work back to New Jersey, and we had a rider. It was a fellow engineer who was trying to qualify on the physical characteristics of the railroad between Philadelphia and New Jersey. And normally, in order to qualify, you would ride trains and become familiar with the piece of railroad. And then you were examined by the rules examiner, who would question you either orally or in writing. And you would have to demonstrate that you knew about the speeds, the rules in effect, where the switches were, where the signals were, that type of thing. So as we started our trip, I was explaining to the rider different things, and when we got on the Trenton line, I was explaining to him the train handling problem areas of the Trenton line. There was one area especially where there was a double downhill, where you would go downhill and then the track was level for a while and then another downhill. That's typically a problem area for trains. And I was explaining to the rider how I handle the train normally, and he said, "I don't care about that stuff. I'm just going to go 10 miles an hour, and I'll be all right." The speed was 50 miles an hour on the track. I said, "Okay, but the train dispatcher might want to talk to you about that because he's got trains to run." And the rider said, yeah, whatever. So months later, we're working another freight train west from New Jersey to Philadelphia in the middle of the night. And we get to Manville, New Jersey, to Port Reading Junction. That's where we would switch from the Lehigh line to the Trenton line. Well, we had a stop signal at Port Reading Junction, and the dispatcher said that he was going to hold us for an eastbound train. And so we relaxed, and the piece of railroad that he was holding us for on the Trenton line, it was 22 miles of single track. And so we figured, it normally, I don't know, it takes 40 minutes, 45 minutes, 50 minutes. Anyway, we're waiting, and we're waiting, and we're waiting. And we're waiting. And I don't know how long we waited. It was at least an hour and a half, probably more. And then at some point I heard a detector go off on the Trenton line, sounding, it said there were no defects. So I knew the train was coming, that we were, the eastbound that we were waiting for, but it was just taking forever. finally, I'm looking at the Port Reading Junction and I see this headlight slowly moving off the Trenton line and comes down to the junction and then starts going by us, and he's going by us so slow I could hardly believe it. And then the engineer started calling the flagman in the caboose, and the flagman was not answering, and the engineer kept calling and no answer. And then finally the engineer called and the flagman said, "Yeah, what do you want?" Sounded mad. And the engineer said, "Yeah, would you let me know if we're clear of Port Reading Junction?" And the flagman said, "I don't know. I'm laying down and I'm not getting up to look." Well, apparently the engineer had beat the flagman up with poor train handling. Probably knocked the guy from one end of the caboose to the other so many times that the flagman got onto the bunk and wouldn't get up just to protect himself. And that's how the engineer got the nickname the Creeper. But I should also add another little backstory that I heard secondhand, but from a very reliable source, that the Creeper was once working at an engine terminal on a bitterly cold day. Everything was frozen solid, but the Creeper noticed that there was water running out of the hillside behind the engine terminal, and he remarked about it to a machinist, and the machinist said, "Yeah, well, spring water doesn't freeze." The Creeper, thinking that he would save some money, replaced the antifreeze coolant in his car with the spring water. Yeah, he bottled up a bunch of it and put it in his car. And what do you think happened? The engine block froze and cracked, and that was the end of the car. So there you have the story of the Creeper, a Conrail legend. Take care and put some sand down.